And if you really wanted to, even when the seasons change and it gets to winter, you could just move to a different state around Australia and you could chase the sun the whole year round.
The dream. Also, there are some exceptions in the UK, like people that live maybe in the lake.
Are people doing that? Are people chasing the sun around Australia? Just moving house, like, you know, just sell the house. You know, it's summer now. Like, let's move to 500 miles up the coast. Oh, it's now autumn, so let's do another 500 miles, right? And keep. Do people do that? I don't think they do. But you know, correct me if I'm wrong. Hello again now, people. What's good? It's me, it's Ted. It's another episode from Blood Tech Talks. First of all, thank you very much for clicking on the video. And secondly, thank you very much to all the subscribers that have come through since the start of the channel. The channel is quite old now, but I've just recently come back to it and, you know, people are already coming back. So, yeah, thank you very much to all of you. If you've not subscribed already, then please hit that button, hit the like button, hit the share button, and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of the video. So this one is something that I wanted to react to. I spotted it in the timeline on the other channel, which I'll link in the description, so go and subscribe to that one as well. So on the other channel, I do a lot of reactions to Australian music. So there's a lot of Australians, you know, subscribe to that channel. So I wanted to discuss the differences between the UK and Australia. Obviously, the other ones are music channels that didn't really fit that, so I thought I'd put that here. So if you are from the other channel, hello, welcome. Let me know in the comments if you are from the other channel. So yeah, so let's get into this one. I think it's recorded by a British guy. I'm not sure, British couple. I think so because it's got the Union Jack there. So we shall.
UK and Australia. Of course, there are some obvious differences between the two. You've got the weather and the sheer size difference of the countries.
But we want to go through some differences that you might experience in your day-to-day life if you're moving from the UK to Australia. Probably one of the main reasons why people migrate to Australia is because of the job opportunities.
All right, I mean, first of all, we just said a moment ago, you know, the size of the country. All right, yeah, there's a huge difference. I never realised that. Like looking on the map growing up, you know, I was thought Australia was quite small, just a little bit bigger than the UK. But then when you actually see them side by side, like Australia is huge. However, it's just mainly the coastline that's inhabited on Australia. You know, is it the eastern southern coast, and then you know I think you've got the Northern Territories as well. But yeah, all that middle bit, I think that's pretty much not inhabited at all. I don't think humans can live there. I think it's too much out there. You know, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. That's what I know of the place, or what I think I know.
Yeah, with lower tax and generally high paying jobs, whether you're a backpacker or not, you're usually going to end up with more money in your pocket working in Australia.
We're not going to go into the specifics of tax as it can get pretty complicated and we're by no means a professional.
Definitely not.
But back in the UK, we were seeing it was around a third of our wages was going towards tax, whereas here in Australia it's more around 20%.
And as a backpacker, it's quite likely you're going to end up in the hospitality industry at some point. For a job in hospitality, you can expect about $25 an hour, sometimes even closer to $30 an hour. This is the equivalent of earning about £13 to £16 back in the UK for a job you might already be doing.
So that's already a few pounds more an hour.
Before we've even talked about tax.
Plus, you're usually paid even more to work on a Saturday and Sunday, and on a public holiday, you might even get double pay. Whereas back in the UK, you kind of just get like a base rate for any day of the week you work. It doesn't make a difference.
Even if you're looking to get skilled or...
It's not strictly true everywhere. I guess every company is different. Where I work, you know, you just get normal time. You know, it's quite a low rate. You know, I work in a factory. It's quite a low rate, just above minimum wage. You know, if I do overtime, it's time and a half. So that's anything over 40 hours is a time and a half. There's no double time for anything. You know, Saturdays, Sundays, normal rate, doesn't matter. If that's part of your week schedule, then, you know, it's normal rate. So yeah, she's not got that one strictly correct there.
experience work if you've got a degree or something like that. We've got a lot of friends who have moved over to Australia and they've told us they're getting almost double than what they were getting back in the UK.
Yeah, and also we've been working in bars and I've been earning more than what I was earning doing my graduate job after uni. Crazy.
Just a little side note before we move on. The cost of living in Australia can be higher than the UK, especially if you're living in Sydney or Melbourne, but we've always found that we've ended up with more money in our pockets since moving over here.
Yeah, we've definitely been able to save more.
The next thing
I mean, I guess that's how it balances out, isn't it? It's, you know, if you're getting paid more, you know, it's going to cost more to live because business doesn't change, CEOs don't change, they want to make as much profit as possible. So yeah, it's always going to be that difference. You see what I mean?
we want to talk about is Australia feels like a very outdoorsy kind of country compared to the UK. Let us explain.
So obviously, you know, Australia is a massive country, but 85% of Australians live within 50 kilometres of the coast, and we feel it has a big impact on people living a more outdoorsy, beachy lifestyle.
Yeah, I remember the first time we wanted to get up for sunrise at Bondi Beach. We thought we were doing this big, crazy experience. Then we got there. Honestly, there's about 100 people, hundreds of people, all on the beach. They're out for walks, doing yoga, having coffee with friends, surfing, and everyone's just out and about.
Yeah, we thought we were going to be the only ones there, but no. That's just how people live their lives here. It's just
nice.
Did they say Bondi Beach? I think they did. I've been to Bondi Beach. My sister lives in Australia. Anyone that's watching this, my sister lives in Australia. I visited when I was, maybe 21, 22. So, it's like 20, 21 years ago or something that was there. I went to Bondi Beach and yeah, it was more than hundreds. It was like a couple of thousand. It was packed. And at no point on the way there did I think to myself it was going to be a nice, quiet beach. It's Bondi Beach. It's world famous. It's always going to be packed full of tourists. Tell me why they would have thought it was empty.
Obviously, the weather is a lot better in Australia than the UK, but people are more inclined to go out camping and do all these kind of outdoor activities. And if you really wanted to, even when the seasons change and it gets to winter, you could just move to a different state around Australia and you could chase the sun the whole year round.
the dream. Obviously, there are some exceptions in the UK, like people that live maybe in the lake.
Are people doing that? Are people chasing the sun around Australia? Just moving house, just sell the house. It's summer now. Let's move to 500 miles up the coast. Oh, it's autumn, so let's do another 500 miles, right? And keep. Do people do that? I don't think they do. But correct me if I'm wrong.
District or Cornwall, they're definitely more outdoorsy than like a town that we're from.
Also, we noticed that in Australia, they've always got these free outdoor electric barbecues in parks and beaches, and that just obviously promotes people to come outside and meet with friends and family and just have a good time.
Next, we're going to talk about the healthcare systems. Now, don't get me wrong, I think both healthcare systems are amazing. We've got the NHS in the UK and Medicare in Australia.
And I'm sure some Australians would say that the healthcare system here isn't perfect, but we're just talking from our experiences, and we feel that the healthcare system in Australia is a bit better than the UK.
Yeah, definitely. Just from our experience, as we said, we would have to wait 3 weeks plus to get a GP appointment back home, which, is nothing against the doctors. They're amazing, but there's just not enough staff. Whereas here, we've managed to get a doctor's appointment the same day, or if not, the next day. It's been amazing.
And we also had friends talk to us about...
Yeah, no, they're completely 100% right. Here in the UK, if you wake up and you need a doctor, there's something wrong with you and you need a doctor. First of all, you're probably not going to be able to get an answer on that telephone. You're going to need to go down there. So if you wake up and you need a doctor, you can't get down there. You can't get them to answer the phone. You ring 111 and they tell you to go to the GP. You ring 999, they tell you to go to 111. And there's nowhere to turn. So there's a lot of sick people just at home sick. self-medicating with God knows what drugs they can find in their cabinet, just hoping for the best. Yeah, you're right. Like, and then you do get an answer at some point, and yeah, it take you 2-3 weeks to get an appointment, and then by this point you're either better, you've either kicked the bucket, or there's something, it's led to something more severe. It's a terrible system. The NHS is not great, but it's free. It's better than what they have in America, where it's you've got that other system, and I believe this is similar to what they have in Australia as well. But I think it's ran a little bit better in Australia than it is in America. But again, I'm not from Australia, so correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments.
Hospital appointments or needing to go to A&E, and they've always been seen like really quickly, really efficiently.
Yeah, very, very good. But the only thing is, in the UK, all ambulances are free, whatever you need. Whereas here, no, they're not free. Luckily, we haven't had...
No, they're not free in England. We pay taxes. Nothing's free. Your bins ain't getting emptied for free. Your ambulances aren't free. Your NHS isn't free. As much as you might think it is. I said earlier that it's free. Like, it's free as in you can just walk in there and you don't have to have the insurance, whatever. But you pay for it in your taxes. Unless you're on benefits, and then it's paid. The taxes or whatever are paid for by the state. By the government. You are paid for it. It's not free.
Had to experience it, but if you do have to call an ambulance, it can cost around $1,000.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, a lot of people...
Oh, it's free. It's free in the UK. $1,000, really? Wow, that's mad. $1,000. My legs have fallen off, then I'm dragging myself to the hospital like, the geezer in Alien when his legs are gone and he's just pulling himself along and it's just the torso and arms and the head. Like, that's me on the way to the hospital. $1,000. Wow.
People take out ambulance insurance to cover them for that, but...
If you don't know about that, then money. Hey, real quick, are you thinking of moving to Australia, or you just like to see some more Australia content? Then why don't you go down under this video and click subscribe.
Wow.
Next, we're going to talk about travel, and both domestic and international travel are very different between the two countries.
Learn French with Great French TV.
L'année prochaine, il y a une fondation qui va mettre aux enchères un collier qui a appartenu à Marie-Antoinette.
Yeah, when we're talking about the UK, I'd say it's very well connected, both internationally and domestically. You can pretty much get a train anywhere around the country, but they are so expensive.
Yeah, like a train from London to Manchester, which is pretty much across England. It's going to cost you like £50 or something like that. Whereas we got a train from Sydney 2 hours outside of the city, and it cost us $5.
That's actually like less than £3.
So we just thought, why are trains so expensive in the UK?
Yeah, it's not fair. But when it comes to public transport, the UK definitely wins. The London Underground, in my opinion, is the best. You can pretty much get anywhere around London. Guarantee there'll be a tube station or a bus station that will get you there.
When it comes to international travel, the UK is pretty well
True. It's pretty confusing.
situated for this. You can get a plane anywhere in Europe for quite cheap, and it's only going to take you sometimes less than an hour. Whereas Australia, you're obviously so far connected from everywhere else, you can't exactly just go on a little weekend trip somewhere, can you? It's going to cost you a lot, and it's going to take you quite a while to get there.
Next, we're going to talk about the price of fruit and vegetables.
Yeah, the first time we went to do our grocery shop in Australia, we could not believe the prices. Some of the things like mushrooms, broccolis, peppers, or capsicums as they call them here. Everything seemed like at least 50% more expensive than the UK.
Yeah, it was crazy. We couldn't believe it and we didn't know why. But now it makes sense because pretty much all the fruit and veg that is sold in Australia is grown in Australia. So obviously they have to pay a fair wage and all that stuff. Whereas in the UK, apparently 80% of fruit and over half of vegetables are imported to the UK. Which isn't great. It's not good for the environment, but I think that's why it's so much cheaper, because they must import them from cheap countries.
Yeah, and if something goes out of season, then they just find it somewhere else cheaper in the world.
Yeah.
Whereas Australia, it's just all very seasonal. So like, for example, broccoli, if that's not in season, you could be paying 2, 3, even more times
Yeah.
price.
Sometimes it's over $10 a kilogram for broccoli. Not a minute.
I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I mean, I would have thought it would have been cheaper to have stuff that's grown in the UK than to have it imported. But I do agree there is a lot of imported vegetables here in the UK, and I think it's anything to do with the weather as well in Australia. Like, it must be harder to grow a lot of this stuff in Australia. I don't know. I'm just guessing here, but I don't know. There must be more to it to why it's 50% more expensive over there. I think one thing that it could be also is, like I mentioned earlier, is like the cost of living's higher. The cost of everything in the supermarkets. Your Tim Tams, your Lays, they're all going to be higher. So it's not just your fruit and veg. But I did see a label on there, price label on there. I'm sure it said like $12.50 for like some peppers or some mushrooms, whatever that was. I think it was peppers, or capsicums, as they said. That's very expensive. That is very expensive. At this point, I'm just eating newspaper and cardboard and durable food.
It's in season. Go buy some broccoli.
What? That was weird. So the only thing is, it does make it quite hard to eat both healthy and on a budget.
Speaking about being healthy
Or not healthy.
or not healthy, the next thing we're going to talk about is chocolate. The chocolate here is just really not that good.
For real.
It's crazy. Like, it has a weird waxy texture when you eat
Yeah.
it. Like, it doesn't melt in your mouth like it does with chocolate
Yeah.
back home.
I don't know. I bet Tim Tams are well nice. Like, we've got an equivalent here. They're called penguin bars, and if you was to put a Tim Tam versus a penguin, Tim Tams win all day long. Penguin's very nice. Don't get me wrong. I do like a penguin bar, but Tim Tams are superior.
But we don't know if this is like an urban myth or whether it's true, but apparently they add something to the chocolate so it doesn't melt as much as like the UK
Yeah,
chocolate.
because it's hotter in Australia, obviously.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, when you're in the supermarket, they've got a good selection of chocolates, like loads of different crazy flavours, and it looks really appealing, but then you try it, it's just, no.
Doesn't hit the spot.
Lastly, the most important thing, the sizes of beer here. The first time we ordered a beer here, we were like, schooner? What's a schooner? Obviously in the UK, everyone just drinks pints.
Yeah, it got me with that as well when I don't drink that, but when I did go over, I did drink. And I think it was like my first day. As you do when you go away on holiday somewhere. And, I'd gone to the pub like the very first day. Or the very next morning after I woke up, I took a walk up into, I think, Balmain, and had a little walk around. And, I walked into a bar there, and I remember I had a bookies in there. And I walked up to the bar and I asked for a pint, and the guys like laughed and he said, "Obviously you're English." Because is it a midi and a schooner? Is that what they were? I think midi is like a half, and the schooner is like a pint. But the schooner is just under a pint, so a pint is a pint, and the schooner is just under. It's easier to hold in your hand, but I guess you tend to drink more because you drink them quicker and you're just locking them back. So I don't know. I don't know which one's better, really. But it is what it is.
And pretty much nothing else.
Maybe a half pint.
Maybe.
Probably not.
Schooner is 2/3 of a pint, and everyone drinks them here pretty much.
When we first got here, we were like, what is that?
Yeah.
That's a weird size. But now
We're converted.
we're converted. Schooner is the perfect amount of beer, I think.
Well, that's it. That's all we've got.
These were just a few of the differences that we thought of between the UK and Australia.
Have you moved to
All right, yeah, that was good. I enjoyed that. So, let me know what you think in the comments. Are they right? Are they wrong? Am I right? Am I wrong? Let me know in the comments. And thank you very much for watching. And like I said before, if you're not subscribed to anything, please hit that button, hit the like button, hit the share button, and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think of the video. And also go check out the other channel and subscribe to that one if you enjoy that content. So, thank you very much for watching. It's been me, Ted, and I shall see you on later.